In 1865, a small wood pulp manufacturer opened along the Nokia Virta River in central Finland. By 1967, the company consolidated its forestry roots with rubber, cable, and a budding electronics division to form the Nokia Corporation. In 1992, CEO Jorma Ollila looked at this diverse portfolio and divested the legacy rubber and paper units to concentrate entirely on telecommunications and mobile infrastructure. The risk paid off. Early devices like this gray mobile unit established the hardware standards of the era and proved the commercial viability of portable communication. Nokia survived its first century through calculated ruthlessness, discarding its foundational industrial identity the moment it identified a more lucrative path forward. By 2007, that path led to this glass complex in Espoo, Finland, the nerve center of a global manufacturing network. This bar chart maps out the company's financial acceleration. Between 1996 and 2000, Nokia increased its headcount by 150%, which drove a 503% spike in total revenue. At its manufacturing peak in 2007, Nokia's assembly lines produced 15 phones every second, cycling through 140 billion components a year. To maintain absolute control, the company kept 83% of its production entirely in-house. They used that manufacturing muscle to saturate the market with physical variations. The heavy, durable plastic build and tactile buttons of the 3310 earned the trust of over 126 million buyers. Meanwhile, they captured the premium tier by iterating on physical form factors, introducing sliding mechanisms and color screens in models like the 7650. The market reality in 2007 was absolute. Nokia commanded 50% of the global handset market and achieved a 110 billion euro market capitalization. This mastery over physical supply chains created a logistical moat that convinced leadership the company was untouchable. Then, the industry shifted. In 2007, Apple launched the iPhone. Value immediately moved from physical hardware to intangible software ecosystems. The market suddenly demanded seamless touch interfaces and app-based functionality. Nokia's workforce was built on hardware expertise, circuit design, antennas, and plastic shells. They were poorly positioned to compete in a software-first environment. Instead of adapting, the company stalled. The primary internal obstacle was a 2004 matrix reorganization analyzed by management researcher Yves Ludoz. This structure destroyed managerial stability. Product development became trapped in a maze of horizontal resource platforms and conflicting departmental priorities. Researchers found this structure created a culture of fear. Middle managers, wary of internal politics, hid severe technical problems from top executives to survive. When the market required software agility, Nokia had engineered itself into organizational paralysis. This paralysis was hard-coded into the Symbian operating system. Researcher Sandra Lubinaite found that Symbian possessed a non-modular and fragmented architecture. The code was rigidly tied to specific physical devices. Because the software was custom-built for each hardware variation, Nokia was managing 57 incompatible versions of Symbian by 2009. Launching a single phone required a 22-month lead time. Engineering factions fought for resources, divided between patching the dying Symbian code and attempting to build a new system called MeeGo. The proprietary software strategy offered no protection. It simply strangled the company's ability to compete with iOS and Android. By 2010, the market was shifting. Symbian's global share had dropped to 32%, while Android reached 30%. The board hired Stephen Elop with a mandate to stabilize the company's financial slide. In 2011, Elop made a definitive choice. He scrapped Symbian and MeeGo, rejected Android, and signed an exclusive pact with Microsoft's Windows Phone. The result was total reliance on a third-party interface. Devices like the Lumia were dependent on Microsoft's live tiles and back-end services. The strategy failed to attract developers. Without a robust app ecosystem, Nokia could not match the annual flagship cycles established by Apple and Samsung. By rejecting Android's open ecosystem for Microsoft's closed garden, Nokia guaranteed its own isolation. This graph tracks the velocity of the collapse. In 6 years, Nokia's global market share dropped from 50% to under 5%. The decline wiped out 95 billion euros in market capitalization, and cost 40,000 corporate employees their jobs. In 2013, Nokia sold its devices and services division to Microsoft for 5.4 billion euros. Even the acquirer miscalculated. Microsoft eventually recorded a write-down exceeding $8 billion on the very assets they had purchased. Apple's touchscreen did not kill Nokia. The company suffered a slow internal strangulation. Bureaucracy, risk aversion, and a rigid focus on hardware destroyed the Titan before the industry even completed its transition.